Welcome our first keynote speaker, Dr. V.K. Arora sir. Dr. V.K. Arora sir is a technocrat, bachelor in engineering and master in business with PhD in entrepreneurship. He is actively serving the Indian entrepreneurial and startup ecosystem from last 20 years. He has conducted thousands of the workshop, mentorship sessions, program and courses since 2002 in the domain of innovation, entrepreneurship, startup incubation and venture development. Dr. Arora sir is associated with several successful entrepreneurs, startups, incubation centers, investors, institutes, universities, and government departments as hand-holding and advisory support. He is also worked as a resource person, expert members, and advisor with the numerous committees and consortiums. His jobs and work profile is dedicated toward women entrepreneurship and enlightenment. Presently, he is associated with a leading incubation center supported by the various departments and Ministry of Center and State Government as well as corporate worlds as the Chief Executive Officer from last 7 years. So we are very thankful, sir, to have you as a speaker in this occasion. And we are welcome you to kindly deliver the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav sir. Thanks a lot. And namaskar to all of my friends. As Gaurav sir was explaining or telling you about the 2 weeks program on entrepreneurship, this program is meant for faculty members, and that is why we are calling it as a faculty development program. The topic is entrepreneurship, so I'm just going to share my slides. I hope you all can see my slides.
Yes, sir, it is visible. Perfect, sir.
Okay. You see, I'm going to take this topic, and in this session, we will try to understand about the unleashing of entrepreneurship. And meanwhile, if you have any doubts or any questions, you can just stop me in between, and we can have a discussion on it. So, if the time allows, then I will try to complete all these slides because second speaker is also waiting for her turn. So, this topic is unleashing entrepreneurship. You all know about the entrepreneurship. When we talk about the unleashing means what we are going to do, means why it is required, and how we can keep this topic or this requirement as far as it is required in our country, and what is the present scenario which is linked with it. But you see, when we talk about any country or when you talk about any region, maybe your region, you are talking about the Tamil Nadu, or you are talking about the southern part of your country, that is India. Maybe you are talking about the complete country, India, or maybe South Asia, or maybe complete Asia, or maybe the Earth. If you talk about any region, no matter from for what reason we are talking about. And another thing is this, that if you talk about 1000 AD, or you talk about 1500 AD, or you talk about today's time 2023, or maybe if you talk about 3000 AD, you will find that whenever we talk about the strength of any region, means just for example, I'm trying to explain you, when you talk about the strength of any country, say the country is India, then you can measure it from 4 different parameters. And those parameters, as we all know, are known as what? PEST, where P stands for was political, in which legal and somehow environment also follows the same parameter. The second one is about the economic parameter. Third one is about the social, and fourth is about the technology. So when you want to understand what is the overall potential of any country, say India, then you will have to analyze that on the grounds of politics, how strong your country is. That means about the central government, what about the state government, how important politics is for the people, how people they trust their government, right? On the other hand, when you talk about the economics, that how many parameters are there in economics, then we talk about the overall GDP of your country. You all must be knowing that today we are having GDP of approximately 3.75 trillion USD, which we are expecting to be means around 5 trillion USD by the end of next year. Per capita income, how rich people are, what is the difference between have and have not. On the third parameter, we are having social, means social wise, how many young populations are there, what is the trust of the people, and how many people are satisfied with the government, how many people they are in job, how many people they are able to keep their life in a good pace. So these are the factors. And on the technological ground, means what about the technology? How technology is actually intervening in your life to make it easier. The problems which are faced by the society, by the countrymen, how that can be dealt and that can be solved, and some solution can be provided through technology. So these are the four parameters. We analyze it with different ways, and we then after what we say that this is the total strength of the country or of any regional grouping. When you say that USA is doing very good, that means the political scenario, in the political scenario, economic wise, social wise, technology wise, what we expect that USA is doing a wonderful job. When you say what about the Russia, then also we will have to analyze all these four parameters. When you talk about Pakistan, when you talk about Sri Lanka, when you talk about Bhutan, when you talk about North Korea, when you talk about Yemen, when you talk about Japan, in all these countries, you will have to understand what is the scenario of these all four parameters. Now, the important thing is this, that when it is having some that kind of relationship. I'm talking about these all four parameters. These all four parameters are having some that kind of relationship that if one is going down, if one is out of control, then it is having a tendency to bring all others in the downward direction. And vice versa, if any one is very strong, then also it is having a tendency to keep or to uplift other parameters in the upward direction. What I mean to say that all these four parameters should work as a pan of a balance. A pan of the balance where you will have to understand that there is a balance between social factor, then a political factor, then technological factor, then economical factor. So if you can imagine about some beam, so all these four parameters should be at some stagnant position, at some equal level. If one is going out of control in any of the direction, it has a tendency to bring other parameters also in the same direction, maybe to the upward direction, maybe to the downward direction. Just see some of the examples when we try to understand. You all know about various crises which happened in past with different countries. You all know about Indonesia. Indonesia is a country where number of times you will find, if you go actually to understand the history, you will find that number of times there was some different crises. So just talk about one crisis which happened in the year 1997. And that crisis was because of which factor? To do something better, and they want to spend something in their infrastructure, because this is an old theory that if you want to develop any region or if you want to develop any country, just develop infrastructure. If infrastructure is developed, then generally it is a chance that many countries, many investors will come to your country and they will invest. They will find their life cool, very easy, and that could be one of the way where you can expect some exponential economic growth. And because of that, and because of many other things, because of political wish, they actually borrowed means a lot of fund from different countries, from different investors. And then after they use that fund in different projects, and unfortunately those projects could not bring that result which they were expecting. So what is happening, that one important chorus you maintain by borrowing with money from some other countries, and it is not showing the desired result. Then what will happen? What is actually happening, that your borrowing is actually increasing. And because of that borrowing, if you know the understand and you understand the concept of economy, there is some devaluation of the local country, that is host countries currency. And the same thing happened with Indonesia also. the currency cost, which was equal to that currency, local currency, that is Indonesian rupiah, which was equal to $1 was equal to 2,600. That only in 1 year you can see that inflation that went to how many times? It went to 3 times basically. It went in the year 1998, it was 11,000. And today the scenario is also not very in a good way. You can understand what is the scenario today also. So it actually created a lot of things. Why? Because all these 4 parameters are closely linked. Because of this, unemployment was there, and political problems were also there. Many people, they lost their faith in the political government. Try to understand the next crisis. We all know, if you have done MBA, then you all know, and we all have gone through with different type of crisis, and in which the crisis of South American means from one to another country. What happened at that time? At that time, the problem was because of the political problem, because of the political parameter. Why? Because the president at that time, Cartoni, he actually wanted Mr. Colosio to become the next president for the country. For which country? For the country of Mexico. Mexico was very good in many of the items, especially in the leather export and many of the items. And in the year 1995, the country like US, country like Canada, they offered Mexico, because of some close amenity and the religious, regional, closing with the country. What they offered, that you can also become a part of our local grouping, that is about the NAFTA. And when they actually got this opportunity, they thought that maybe in the coming years, they will find that many of the USA-based companies and Canadian-based companies, they will open their offices in Mexico. And maybe, that happens because of the time zone, because of the many other things, when you are going to outsource to the other country, when you are going to export to some other country, and many advantages are there when you actually going to make some regional grouping. So because of that, they were expecting high kind of, some investment from other countries. And because of some terrorist activity, unfortunately, the presidential candidate, Colosio, he was assassinated. And when that happened, then everything was in some way that what is going to happen. So people were not able to understand. Because of that, inflation increased, and because of that, the same thing, the peso, the local currency, that was also went actually out of control. And because of the political reason only, you can see that what happened is ultimately it also affected the economical reasons, then after the social reasons, and technology was also not very strong. So now, if you talk about the social reason, you all know about the decanting of USSR, which was supposed to be a equal second pole strengthen economic power of the world at that time. We had seen a Cold War between USSR and USA for more than 30 years, and that type of country, that type of strength, all these grounds that were very good, but people were not very satisfied, and they were losing the hopes and the expectations of the local people. They were not matched at that time, and that was not aligned with the vision of the government. So what happened? They all demanded that we should have different countries. And for that, you all know that what all they have done. Right. So ultimately, the big country, USSR, that was decanted in how many countries? In 15 countries. And because of that, also because of the social problem, what we saw at that time, that number of regions that were divided. And then after, the overall control of USSR, that lost. And when that happened, again at that time, the cost of the value of their local currency, that also devaluated. But there was a strong point also, as I was telling you, that vice versa also happened. That happens that and because of the technology was very strong. One of the important countries, that is Russia, they were able to maintain themselves, and then they came out, means again exponentially good after 15-20 years. So you can understand that how these 4 components are very much interlinked. In our country, India, you all know that how population is actually increasing. And we don't have any plan, we don't have any, right now, any understanding how to control this population. This is good that the young population, what we talk about, this is a good and this is an asset to India, that young population of the world that is with India. We all agree with this, but at the same time, with the limited resources, with the limited jobs, with the limited, limited, every kind of limited. What we find that today we are facing problem which is linked with the unemployment, which is also linked with actually who is having the accountability. There is an ethical mismatch. There is difference between have and have not. Means half of the people, some of the people they are becoming rich and rich, and some of them are going to the poorer direction. So there is a gap between have and have not. So the huge desire among the young and the youth and those people who are in the bracket of in between 20 to 35 years, that this is also, we should also have this, we should also have this. Ultimately, it is also increasing some crime situations and scenarios all over the country. So these all are the problems which we are facing, and it is a reality that in the last year, in the year 2022, we have seen India's rank in the global hunger index. So because of all this, what is actually the problem we are facing? We are right now what the problem we are facing. The problem is this, that we will have to take care of our social element. Out of these four elements, social elements, this we have to take care. And it is linked with everything. It is also linked with cultural reasons. So right now, the main issue is this, that we have to provide at least employment so that they can generate some earning by their own. Some earning by their own. It should not be the case that in the newspaper we see that because of unemployment, because somebody in the software industry, he lost his job, and later on what he did with his family or with himself, that kind of situation we actually don't desire. So why it is happening? So that is why this is very important, that we have to take care of the group ethics control of the people all over the country. And as you all know, it is actually having components where behavior is one part, attitude is one another part, and philosophy is also a third part. So now coming to the next, what we want to explain you, what we have to understand, that in the present scenario, the major consideration of the government is, and it should be, it is not like this that which government is here. The problem is this, that we have to understand, we have to address immediately about unemployment, about the gap, economic gap between have and have not, and about the impatience among the people. And this is happening because of many things. And the major point is this, that we will have to understand that our total economy, which is ultimately linked with the per capita income, very much it is dependent upon some imports. The difference between balance of trade, that is where we talk about the imports and exports. Then it is also necessary to understand that we are in the scenario where there is uncertainty on remittances. You understand the meaning of that money back to our country. So that money is considered as remittances which we are receiving from other countries. And there is something and which is very unpredicted about the international scenarios and the conflicts. We never know that what kind of relationship we are having with other country. What happened with Yemen? People actually did not at that time, is a few years back, they didn't imagine that this is the scenario which is going to happen. What happened in between Iran and South Arabia? Then after, what happened with India and USA? Previously, what kind of relationship we were having? Now, not only with India, among other countries also. Today, we are having very good relationship with Israel, but who knows? Israel is also facing some kind of problem, which are their local problems. We cannot say that which country is going in which direction. So my consideration is only this. My understanding is only this, that we have to rely on ourselves. We have to rely on ourselves, and for which who is actually going to play a bigger role, or in a main role, or a giant role, that is the role of government. And as we all know, government actually do this job with the help of introducing new policies, with the help of changing and having some amendment in the policies, because they can have some change in the social views. In the social views mean in our view means your view, the view of each and every faculty member who is attending this program. So we will have to understand that if any requirement is there where we can have a change in our view or not. if we understand that some change, some social views, changing in some social view that is required, we will have to do it right now. Otherwise, what is going to happen that we are following some local tradition, local things that we did a job. My father also did some job. My grandfather also did some job. My son will also do some job. My grandson will also do some job. And later on, if you will find that jobs are not there in the market, then what will happen? Then what will happen? So the preparation is only this, that if some social component which is going to be out of the control from the government, we don't want that kind of scenario where thousands of lakhs of crores of young people who are unemployed, they come to the roads of New Delhi, and then after they are trying to have some unrest, show some unrest before the parliament of our country. So to avoid that kind of situation, because if that will happen, ultimately it will also affect political problems. It will also create political problems. It will create our technology will not be very much useful. Means you know what kind of things happens in such kind of products, and then after economy may also go out of control. We don't want that. So what we want right now, what we are expecting, that maximum people of India, they should talk about self-employment. They should talk about self-employment. And this is the situation. You all understand that what is happening in between India and China, whether you agree it or you don't agree it, from last 3 years, we are facing some similar kind of Cold War between India and China, where we are not sure, we are also not giving that message, but it is a fact that we are not sure that whether to continue with the trade with the China or not. Or not only this, African market where Chinese people are already there, we are trying to invade, penetrate that market also. So this way or that way, it is a fact. So we have to understand that self-employment is the one thing which should be considered by the government as one of the priority issues, and not only the self-employment. In self-employment, what will happen, that I will find my own employment and I will be happy with my family, right? But not only the self-employment, the next step is this, that you will have to create, you means we all have to create employment generation through self-employment. Means I have arranged my job by myself, that is one point. I have also arranged job for 3-4 more people who are associated or who are going to be associated with me. So this type of change, this kind of spawning we are expecting actually from the people. And there was some time when you used to say that from local to global, many people from last 20 years we were thinking only about this, because people wanted to actually go to different countries, they want to do a good job, they wanted to improve their personal life, their economic economic advantages also. But now is the time when we have to talk about the local production and local consumption. I 100% vouch with the government vision that we will have to talk about the local products in today's time, because ultimately we have to generate our money from our own selves. There are some of the products which are very essential in these days, and we product which can be replaced. I'm talking about the crude oil, I'm talking about some technology transfer products, some of the defense equipments, because right now, because of the survival, we will have to understand, we have to import those products. But slowly means in the time domain, we are actually standing. Today we are talking about the 5 trillion economy. Some of the speeches you will listen about 10 trillion economy. In some of the speeches you will listen about 25 trillion economy. We know that where we are today, we are having the 5th position worldwide. So these all are the situations are there, but we have to plan after 15 years, after 20 years, where we are going to stand. And if you actually want to talk about the self-employment, and if you want to talk about the benefits which can be created by the self-employment, we will have to talk about 2 things. Number 1 is the skill development, and number 2 is the entrepreneurship development. When you actually talk about the skill development, we talk about creating professionals. And trust me, after entrepreneurship, government will talk and they will bring number of policies to means create number of professionals. Professionals means if some of the faculty members are visiting faculty, they are working as a professional. your plumber, your carpenter, your chartered accountant, your company secretary, means those who are having skills and they are giving you some benefits, they are giving you some services, in lieu of which they are taking some commission or some money they are generating. So those people are known as what, the professionals. And gig economy, when if you understand the meaning of the gig economy, whenever you will find that there were conflict among many of the countries or many of the regions, then you will always think, or you will always be able to understand that at that time always gig economy played its role. And but the second step is this, what we are talking in today's time, that is about the startups. And here we actually require entrepreneurship development. You may ask, sir, what is the difference between skill development and entrepreneurship development? So there are differences. There are differences from beginning. From beginning, we are having differences. Once, if we understand that this is Mr. Shyam and Mr. Shyam is having some skill, we will have to develop his skill so that through some skill development program we will be conducting for him, and he will become an extremely good some professional. So we are having some different route. And at the same time, if we want to talk about Shyam's organization, that Shyam is very good in having some of the skills which are related with the qualities and characteristics which an entrepreneurship cause. So if that kind of mindset we will have to prepare, so we will have to have that kind of capacity building where he is not having only the control of his skill, but he is also having control of the organization which presently he is having, or maybe he will be incorporating it very soon, and he is actually trying to become an entrepreneur. So on the one hand, we are having professionals. On the other hand, we are also having startups. See, there are a number of sources of earning money. Earning money is not a big job. But the major point is this, that when we say that one slowly and slowly by his or her own, or maybe because of the parents, because of the environment, we understand that one specific kind of mindset one is actually preparing. And that mindset is maybe some mindset which is related with the job oriented mindset. We all know that in India, many of the people, they are in job or they are in some business, some small organizations they are having. So one is the job oriented mindset, second one is the professional mindset, and third one is about the entrepreneurial mindset. So when you actually talk about the unleashing entrepreneurship, then we will have to understand that some social change is required, and we will have to convert majority of the people from job oriented mindset to the entrepreneurial mindset. So I did my PhD in entrepreneurship in the year 2005. I did it in between 2002 to 2005. My first workshop I did in the year 2002 with one engineering college. From that time, from 20 years, 21 years, I am sending proposals to different organizations that I want to do some 1 day program on entrepreneurship, or 2-day program on entrepreneurship, 5-day program on entrepreneurship. At that time also, I used to go to number of colleges, number of universities. I'm talking about the year 2003, 2004, 2005. I also covered some of the schools to train some of the students about entrepreneurship for the students of class 11th and for the students of class 12th. Every time I was not admired, means I thought that I was always admonished that our children or our students, if they want to prepare for IT, they want to prepare for PMT, why they will join your business development program? Means entrepreneurship, that was not very common word. So no, when we actually want to do something, we want to convey our message that this is important. So this is a common problem with the people, that they just want to say, they want to discourage you. So this is not required. And when I actually try to understand that why they are having that kind of problem, they are rebuking me, or they are not trying to understand what is actually required or maybe required after a few years. So they said that the problem is this, that if we will promote entrepreneurship in our schools, if our colleges, the faith of the parents, that will be in loss. We will lose the faith of the parents. So if we talk about how to start a business or how to incorporate a company, who is the CA, what is the role of the CA, how the role of the CA and CS, it actually differentiates. So they don't want to talk much about it, because the majority of the people, they are seeking their career only in the engineering line, or maybe in the arts line, maybe in the commerce line. But there's always some chasm are always there. and those chasms are actually there. And it is very important and very crucial to penetrate those things so that you can ultimately convey that what you want to do and you can bring some change. Now, what happened in the year 2014 and especially in the year 2016, government said that this is required. This is required. And when the government said, again, as I was mentioning, that because of the new policies, because of the change in the policies, many organizations, they also said that yes, this is required, in which regional groupings were also there, some corporate were also there, because of the CSR activities which was introduced in the Companies Act in the year 2013. Then after a number of international agencies, because of the government wish, they go there, different countries, they meet different people's delegates, and then after some MOUs are signed, and these people, they come to India and they say that these are the areas where we can help you, through some universities, through some institutes, through many of the stakeholders, because of the government. Government want to have some change in the society. And when government says that you all have to come together and this is the change we are looking, we actually want to unleash entrepreneurship in our country, India. Then only the game can change. Otherwise, it cannot change. Right? You need some influences you ultimately need. So it is not like that because of those influences you will not achieve these things. But those influences or the intervention of the government, that they make their process some easy process. They give you some easy way of doing it, some fast way. Exponentially, you can have a bigger outreach among the people. And when government says that we want to do it, it is always through something. And government chose that we will have to go through some business incubation centers. And that is why, because after the year 2016, number of business incubation centers, they were established by all the universities, by the corporate world also, by some, by some investors also, means everywhere you will find. When I did my PhD at that time, only 4 or 5 incubation centers were there in India. And at that time, we used to talk about the incubation centers of USA. We used to talk about the incubation centers of European countries, and also many of the incubation centers of China. But we were not having that concept. After the year 2016, slowly and slowly, we picked the pace, and then after a number of incubation centers have increased. In today's time, I guess that approximately 650 incubation centers are there, out of which approximately 450 incubation centers are supported by any of the government department or government agency. So through these business incubation centers, business innovation centers, we are actually trying to shape the entrepreneurialism in India. And what is the main objective? What is the motive? Motive is only this: we want to create some successful startups, right? And when you actually want to make some successful startup, you will have to understand that although number of people are supporting you, number of agencies are supporting you, number of part of government they are supporting you, but ultimately doers are who? Doers are the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur can actually change this. And who is going to become an entrepreneur? We are having lots of expectations from the students. Since you all are faculty members, you all can understand what is the mindset of your students, right? We are looking for those kind of students, those the students who actually want to become an entrepreneur, some aspirant entrepreneur, or maybe budding entrepreneur. If they are already doing, or they are engaged with some commercial activity, budding entrepreneur, but we will only have to shape them, or we have to reshape them. Entrepreneur is a word which is not there in the dictionary, but want to become an entrepreneur. One who want to become an entrepreneur. So this thing we will have to capture. Then after we will have to nurture. Through what? Through entrepreneurial development programs, through different type of capacity building programs. And we are doing it. We actually made it. Your faculty members, coordinator Gaurav ji actually made some program, and that is made in such a way that maximum delivery, maximum understanding can be given to all of you. And not because of the only reason that you will have to become an entrepreneur, because of the reason that right now we also need professionals who can actually train, who can actually handhold budding entrepreneurs. Means I am talking about your students. Your students are coming, they are going to join some community, and you are helping them. You are becoming a shareholder, or maybe only a mentor with that organization, and that company is doing very well. Ultimately, it is going to serve to our country, to the people of our country, right? So the first step is this, that we understand that these are the people who are aspirant entrepreneur, we try to develop their innovativeness, and then after their profit concern mindset, and then after ultimately dedication towards the society, which we say as IPS. Then after we try to develop some business idea, some business viable idea. There are some ways of how to develop a business idea. Design thinking is playing very important role. You can also go and you can see some of the books in which design thinking is explained very well. So design thinking is also not Indian word, but before design thinking also we were talking about from cognitive thinking to entrepreneurial thinking. That from cognitive thinking to entrepreneurial thinking, that was only developed by Indians. So we were means from long back we are talking about businesses. If you know about the history from the time of 3000 BC, we used to talk about the businesses. And then after once a person is having a viable business idea, we develop, there's some process of having proof of concept, proof of value, prototyping, types of prototyping, refinement, and then after minimum viable product, checking that minimum viable product is having a value proposition or not. And slowly we are also trying to develop some entrepreneurship, some qualities and characteristics, so that one can develop themselves towards continuous innovation. And once a minimum viable product is ready, what we say that now you are ready to start a company, and later on that company may be registered with Udyam, that is Ministry of MSME, or maybe with startup, that is Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is the first step which we have to understand. We have to also take care that our students in the right way or not. So there are four things which you can see from this. Number one is the capturing the right talent, capturing the right student. And sometimes when we actually counsel our students or people who want to become entrepreneurs and they come to our incubation center, we are having some set of questions in our mind, just to check that how long one is going to carry his or her entrepreneurial journey. Then to nurture, how you will have to nurture. It is not like this. There is not a set of rule that with this set of rule I made Swati as an entrepreneur. With a similar set of rule I will make Barkha also, an entrepreneur. It is not like this. When we in different programs, different entire process. So that one, it means every people are, all the people, they are different. We have to think about it. And then after the hand holding, and then after the team support. So this is how we are doing it. And you all are the faculty member in some of the colleges. You must be having your incubation center or e-cell or e-club. You are also maybe a member of that e-cell or e-club. So you can understand that what I actually mean to say. But when actually the topic is like this, that unleashing entrepreneurship, so you will have to understand. I have only two more slides. So this is the second last slide, I guess. So when you talk about the unleashing entrepreneurship, it is a social change which we are expecting in India to actually follow. And whenever you need a social change, you can compare it with any of the example. To worst example, you can talk about the immolation, Sati Pratha. You might be knowing about the immolation, or maybe any sort kind of social change. You want people to fight for some cause, social change. You want people to keep quiet for some social cause, social change. Whenever you want people to change their thinking, so there are four steps. Number one, first step is this, that you will have to generate awareness. And for that awareness, DST was having a program for this entrepreneurial awareness camp. In awareness camp, we don't tell them become an entrepreneur. We only tell them that this is also one of the option. If you choose this track, that is entrepreneurial track, then these are the things which you will be gaining. These are the features which you may expect. These are the gains, not only for you, for your family, for the society. What we actually do is we actually try to capture talent. Once some awareness programs are done, then after we go for the actual training, actual education about the entrepreneurship. In today's time, university is bringing number of the program on entrepreneurship. New courses are also developed from the diploma level to the bachelor's level, the postgraduate level, to the higher up level. What we are actually trying to do, we are trying to create some champions. MSME says that these are champions. Just talking about the entrepreneurs or startup promoters. So whoever are now interested, we cannot say that all of you have to become, because we cannot fight with the to make some social change immediately. We only want to see that this is the universe. From this universe, we are having this set, and from this set, we are trying to get now this subset. From this subset, now we are trying to find some subset. So these are the interested people. We are conducting some EDP programs. You can see here I have mentioned not only the EDP for the startups promoters also, EDP for the facilitators also. Means for you people also EDPs are very much required. Why? Because we want to nurture that talent in the right direction. They should understand that what is happening in the universal ground. Because universe is a, the globe is a playground when we actually talk about the business or the venture developments. So once that is done down, it is the time of action. For action, who is actually playing role? We from the incubation centers, from the accelerator or acceleration centers, we are actually trying to implement it. Implement what? We want to create successful stories. Stories means what? Stories of startups. How many startups are incubated in your incubation center, in which all the areas, in what are their turnovers, what they have achieved, how many investors are there, and ultimately how they achieve success. And once that is done, then after the leadership. And this is one successful story, and that from that story, I will bring that story to among our students. We will tell them to our students, and then after more and more people will think about entrepreneurship. So this kind of spawning, spawning from one to another, this kind of spawning from one to many another, this kind of spawning. Then spin out. Spin out means one organization is in ready-made garments, so many of the companies are coming to the ready-made. When you talk about the USA successful story in that as far as incubation centers are concerned, spin-outs are very much encouraged. It is not like this that one should not come in our business, because we don't want to flourish any kind of competition. So it is not like this. It is like this that I have become successful. Now it is your turn, and we are expecting you also. When you actually talk about the unleashing entrepreneurship, this is the present scenario. In the present scenario, there is one portal you all might be knowing it. This is the startupindia.gov.in, that is government of India, government.in India. So there you will find that what the support you are getting, you are is the startup promoter or the mentors or the facilitators or incubation centers, they are getting from the government. You will find that not a single ministry is left out. Even the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Department of Space, the Ministry of Finance, Defense, all the ministries. You talk about all the ministries, somewhat they are doing in the area of entrepreneurship, and they all are doing pretty well. It is doing a good job. When you talk about the state government, there is also one ranking you might be knowing about, the startup ranking framework, when there is a competition between the state governments that how much entrepreneurship is promoted in your state. So you will find that all the states are participating. How many startups are today in India? It is over 1 lakh. I don't know, there is some glitch, I guess, that in the portal of Startup India, the number is showing 99,380 from last 15-16 days. But it is, I'm sure that it is over 1 lakh of startups are there in India. How many startups are there in USA? Approximately 2.4 lakhs. How many startups are there in China? In between the startups of USA and India. So you can see, and after India, the fourth rank is having a big gap. How many incubation centers are there? 650 incubation centers are supporting. Total, how many unicorns are there? I guess that it is approximately 120. But in the latest data, what I could have found from the Google, that was 108, with the valuation of how many USD? That is 340 billion. Right. Then after unicorns started by the Indian co-founders outside India, they are 17, 64 in USA, 2 in UK, and one in 4 different other countries. One is in Singapore also. So Global Innovation Index, the latest rank, that was 40 out of 132. Ease of doing business, 63 out of 190 countries. And International IP Index, that is 42, in which in trademarks, I guess, we are having 3rd rank. In technical patent, we are having 7th rank. And what is the GDP, as I was telling you, and we are expecting to achieve a good number, since we are actually going with the percentage of 7.2% per annum as a growth rate. So this is how we are actually having a requirement of entrepreneurship. We talk about unleashing entrepreneurship. So now it is the time of questions. What are the questions you are having, you can always ask. And this is my contact detail. If you are not able to ask your questions here because of the shortage of time, then I would like to answer your questions through email also. You can connect with me. So this is all from my side.
Thank you so much, sir. for the wonderful and informative session. Sir, so dear participant, you can unmute yourself, you can switch on your video, and this is the question answer session. So you can ask your query with our speaker if you want. If you have any doubt, yes, please.
Dear sir, can you hear my voice, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
You are audible.
Yeah. Sir, I am Dr. Meenakshi Sundaram. I am working as associate professor in the Department of Management Studies. So actually, you have explained very well about what are the present scenario regarding the entrepreneurship. But in spite of this, all these efforts by the governments and other institutions, I could see that only 2% out of the passing out students are going for entrepreneurship because of the risk in business. Am I right, sir? So, in what way we can induce the students to focus towards the entrepreneurship, sir? Can you give some guidelines for that?
Sir, there are a number of issues. There are a number of issues because of which we are having low percentage of success. The problems, if you actually talk about or you want to discuss with me, the problem is not only with the startups or not only with the aspiring entrepreneurs. We are actually facilitating from the incubation centers, and the facilitation is also actually requires some improvement. In India, incubation centers are also in their incubation period. So many times I see that that kind of HOD kind of qualities. If I am running an incubation center, then from my point of view, how good I am in H, how good I am in O, how good I am in D, honesty, openness, and then after dedication. That is also very much required. So I will not talk about the corruption, but yes, sometimes we see that the right kind of startups are not promoted. So the main reason, first reason is this, that we will have to understand. That is why, sir, I was emphasizing on capturing and nurturing. When you actually try to capture, you will have to be open that these all the startups are there, and we have to think from the perspective of our country. So if right people are joining, they are coming to you, you will have to, from the dedicated mind, you will have to means mentor that person. So this is the first point. Second point is this, that those people who are actually coming for the business, they are lacking in technology. Sir, in coming days, in coming time, no startup can work unless they are not having proper IT support. This is a fact. If you are not having IT support in any of the line, technical or non-technical, you cannot flourish. So are we prepared with those kind of technical support or not? That is point number two. I know number of ladies, because since our incubation center, this promotes women entrepreneurs. I feel that number of the times it happens that these females or female members are not good in IT or not good in making website, or they are dependent upon website and social media. So there this kind of problems we are facing. So the third problem is also this, that the government is there to launch number of policies, but ultimately what is happening? Ultimately, who is actually passing those policies result to the ultimately to the startup promoters? So some that kind of points are also there. Sir, if I will talk, I will have a list of 10, 12 things which are actually the reason. But with some new technology, some good technology, incompatible with the technology USA people are having, or some the UK people are having, that we will have to think, and we should not talk much about number games, that how many we have done. So that is also something we will have to understand, that ultimately each and every startup, who knows tomorrow that startup is going to create 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh jobs for our country. So we'll have to work dedicatedly, and this is our moral duty, and this is the duty of all the faculty members. I will again actually try to urge to all the faculty members that we will have, actually we are the people who can change this scenario. Whenever you are going to bring any society, sir, faculty always played very important role. So likewise, facilitator also played very important role. So this is our duty, this is what we are doing, and we are expecting a good change in the society. And if it happens, sir, this success rate will be improved from 2% to 10% at least.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Sir, I am doing my PhD work in rural entrepreneurship. My question is how we can enrich rural entrepreneurship with more techniques and with your own experience, how we can enrich?
Sir, in rural entrepreneurship, generally we talk about, social entrepreneurship. Generally, I'm not saying in all the cases, in many of the cases. And those social entrepreneurial problems which we actually try to solve, those are related with sustainable development goals. Sir, I hope you understand the meaning of sustainable development goal. The problem is this, that when we talk about self-help group kind of development, we talk about the trust, we talk about the societies, and at the most we talk about the Section 8 companies. Why? Because here the funding is required. We are expecting good from the government. We are expecting good fund from the corporate under CSR activities, which is not wrong. But the structure is like this, that we will have to have that kind of organizations. In India, sir, social entrepreneurs, there are a number of social entrepreneurs. But sir, do we have number of social investors or not? Like in Europe, sir, if you want to start some business now, so first of all, you will have to convince people that what social problem you are going to solve and from which sustainable development it is linked. Then after, you create some community, and at very later stage, you talk about the revenue, you talk about the earning. So in India also, sir, we are having number of schemes as far as rural development is concerned or social entrepreneurs are concerned. And there is a small way to have your own trust, your own society. If not with Startup India, then you can register and you can get Udyam number. You can also get Darpan. You can also apply with the government number of societies through that Darpan number. And another thing is this, that we are also having livelihood incubation centers concepts. Livelihood incubation center concept. One very good scheme is with which is floated by the government of India through EDI and IIE Guwahati. So there also you are having some facilities, and this livelihood incubation center you can apply. There is a funding of 2 crore rupees there, in which some contribution is required from the private partner. But if that is the government organization, 100% funding is provided. So Prime Minister Employment Generation Program is also doing a wonderful job. So they are also having, I guess you must be knowing about it, some, Spurti scheme, a very good scheme from last, I think, 15-20 years. I know about the Spurti scheme, in which, some cluster development programs were used to run cluster development centers. Then Aspire is there. So number of schemes are also there in the rural when we talk about the entrepreneurship, where some, that kind of concept can bring in the back into the society. Sir, some marts are also there, online marts are also there, which are providing the goods from the urban area to the rural people, and vice versa, the goods and the manufactured program from products from the rural areas to the urban areas. So many of the schemes are there. The only thing is this, that we will have to carefully understand it. MSME is also having number of schemes. So this is how we can do it. The problems I do understand, initially you don't get fund. When you are talking about the problem is only this, that we talk about the investors and
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Talking about, so you will always find that they are interested that when the next investor will come and they will generate profit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for the nice presentation. And so, sir, kindly accept the guest of honor on behalf of Institute Innovation Council, a School of Biomedical Sciences and a School of Business of Galgotia University, for accepting our invitation, for joining our endeavor and sharing your visions as a keynote speaker in this 2 weeks faculty development program. We are very obliged to you, sir, and we are very honored to have you as a keynote speaker. So kindly accept this e-memento, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for this, and thanks to all the faculty members. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Razina from Bangalore, CMR University.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Just wanted to tell you thank you, sir, for such an informative session. Thank you, sir.
Sir, are we allowed to ask questions?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Raja from GMR Institute of Technology. Nowadays,
Your voice is too low.
oh, okay. Am I
Yes.
clear, sir, right now?
Yes, yes. Now you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Nowadays, many companies are shutting down, irrespective whether they are well established or startups, because of technological and economic situations. So, can collaboration help us or help the companies to sustain in the long run, or will there be any complications?
Sir, you are talking about the competition, and because of the competition, how you can go for long term, right, sir?
Yeah. Can collaboration help, or else will there be any
Sir,
complications?
collaboration helps. Sir. Actually, sir, you know, we are having some misconcept like this, that theoretical things are different and in practical you are going to have a problems are and what are the solutions. What those problems are, what are the solutions. Later on, sir, we changed it to 5 to 7. 7 are the different situations when the people of entrepreneurship, then after what the solutions are. This is a fact. For the startups, also, sir, number of times you will find that collaborations are required. If you want to go for the share market, if you want to take investment, you know, reverse investment, that reverse, reverse listing in the reverse merger, what we say, reverse merger, not only the merger, mergers are there, acquisitions are there, plus reverse also helps a lot. So these all are the ways where the collaborations are there. So one, two more important things I just want to say, that competition is a very good, healthy word. And we all startups, promoters of the startup, we should accept competitions. It is known, there's no doubt about it. The problem actually becomes when the competitors are very big, they are heavy investors. Means you are doing something from last 2 3 years, suddenly you find that big organization, just taking the example, Adani comes, or you know, a big chain comes, they open, immediately they put a lot of money and those are the problems where actually the problem comes. So these are the things Competition Commission of India, CCI, they should take care. If we are actually talking about the startups, that there should be something, some some safety with the startups. Government has also brought the concept of buy MSME, in which some percentage of startup promoters that should be bought by the government, and that is also applicable in portal of government, where we talk about the e-procurement. So these are the things where government is helping. But the only thing is this, that competition is a good way. We have to talk about how to penetrate market. This is for what we are excel. We are supporting, we are hand-holding our startups to get more and more share in the total market share. So that is why from the TAM to SAM, from SAM to SOM, from SOM to STP, that is segmentation, targeting, and the positioning. Then how to take your position in the market, how to increase that position. How we talk about the growth hackers. So how growth hackers think is this, that if some big people, they are going to invest in a very good way or with a good capital, then to provide a safeguard, that is also a duty of government and the duty of incubation centers. Thank you, sir. I hope, sir, I answered, sir, your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. I think there is no query from others.
Thank you, sir. I think, sir, second speaker must be waiting.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for the conducting wonderful, informative, and interactive session. Thank you so much, sir. So, dear participant, we have another speaker with us, Dr. Divya Rajput, ma'am.
Am I audible, Dr. Gaurav?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Gaurav. Thank you so much for having us here. And that was a very insightful session, Dr. Arora. I mean, definitely, helps to uh, put a lot of thoughts back and then see where are we heading, jointly as a nation. So
Yes.
thank you, Kalgotia University, for having me here. My name is Dr. Divya Rajput. I'm the CEO of JSS Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Park. We are among the early age incubators, or I would say steps in the country. We were established in the year 2000 and finally, took off in year 2004. So although the topic given to me was the need of entrepreneurship, but then I have made a little a combination with innovation because that's my background. I was the business innovation head for Ministry of Corporate Affairs, worked in the government for about 5, 6 years, also the advisor to Technology Development Board. So I thought, let me talk a little about innovation because that's something I hold very close to my heart. Uh, Also, Dr. Gaurav, in case, because we have a little fluctuation with, internet today. So in case there is any issue and you see that I'm not connected, just drop me a message.
Yes. So we are very thankful, ma'am, that you have accepted our invitation and joining with us. So Dr. Divya ma'am is a highly resourceful, motivated, enthusiastic professional. She also worked with the government, corporate, higher education, startups, experience fostering the innovation ecosystem, nurturing the cohesive learning atmosphere, managing the technical operation, and strategic business head. So, ma'am is currently a CEO of JSS Science and Technology Entrepreneur Park at JSS Science and Technology Entrepreneurship STEP and member of the board of advisor in the business advisory service, as well as she has also holding some position in the like treasurer and founding member of Society of Biotech Promoter of India. Uh, she hold the position of the president of Association of Women in Business. So Association of Women in Business is a think tank to enable, educate, and endorse the women entrepreneurs, small business owners, and business women. So also this Association of Women Business is established a startup center in Women College, University to conduct the training program, boot camps, and many more programs to accelerate the growth stage of women business. She also hold faculty position and faculty mentor position at the entrepreneurship cell of IIT Kanpur. So we are very grateful to have you, ma'am, as a keynote speaker in this 2 weeks faculty development program at Galgoti University. Over to you, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am? Participant, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
I think ma'am has a poor connection. Okay, so I'm contacting her. हेलो जी जी ओके मैम हाँ सो जी सो अभी आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है आपको क्या इसमें दिख रहा है जी आप दिख रहे हो लेकिन आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही okay so please wait for 2 minutes ma'am is joining
I'm audible now.
yes ma'am you are audible
Perfect. Thank you.
let me okay now you can share the screen ma'am yes
Right. I hope you all can see now.
yes ma'am yes
Perfect. Right. So thank you for the introduction, Dr. Gaurav, and my sincere apologies for that glitch. So, I was sitting since morning listening to all the sessions, and somehow,
yes
that's what technology does to us. Anyways, so as I said, JSS Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Spark was basically established to bridge the gap between, the R&D, which was done at college level, and transferring those technologies to startups, or bringing it to public through startups. So what we are going to do today is, I thought we'll focus more on the entrepreneurial mindset, because mindset is something which can make you big, even if you're doing it within an organization, which means you're an entrepreneur, or you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you go outside and you're actually able to solve so many problems. So it basically transforms you from a problem, somebody who crips about problems, to a problem solver. That's what it does. So we'll look at a little about technology commercialization. I mean, reach uh, public good. I mean, so a lot of patents, a lot of IP which is filed actually just remains on shelves. It is never commercialized. So, but that is the only way of making money back from R&D. Then we look at some types of innovation. We'll also look at entrepreneurship and how is it different from business or self-employment, because often that is something we get a little confused about. कि business तो हमेशा से ही हो रहा था, ये अभी entrepreneurship अचानक इतना important क्यों हो गया? Also the need for entrepreneurship, मतलब जरूरत ही क्या है? Although मेरे पहले speaker Dr. V.K. Arora ने बहुत अच्छे से समझाया. I'll try and give a little my flavor to it, and also how you can help your startups or help your students become a startup, or even guide startups who may come to your incubator or otherwise. Now, a basic context is that science converts money into knowledge, right? And that's the R&D funds that you get, and you generate knowledge which you publish. You put it in public domain. When it is published, a lot of people can access it, and they can read and they can build on top of it. However, that's all it does, right? Technology commercialization basically converts knowledge into money to bring value back to the society. So the moment we start thinking about creating or doing R&D from purpose of commercializing that technology, you're actually going full circle and you're generating wealth, right? So the same knowledge which you've created, which you've published, that patent could actually be commercialized and generate revenue, and also bring some value to the society. That's what happens. These are some typical classifications of innovations. Innovation, and I'm presuming that all of you come from a tech background, so you would actually understand this well. It can either be at the level of system, it can be at the level of components, it can also be with respect to the degree of novelty. So it can be incremental in nature, so which means that you do better what has already been done, right? And or it can be systemic, so which is something new, completely new for the company. So I'm sure some of you who are my age group would agree that आज से 20 साल पहले पेजर्स चलते थे, 20 या 25 साल पहले. आज पेजर को कोई नहीं जानता है. So these are systemic. So something new will keep happening, new will keep coming, new versions will happen. Then I mean, that was radical, at a systemic level. At a component level, as on today, we see a lot of work happening in advanced materials, so that you can improve component properties. So much work happening on hydrogen electrolyzers, so much work happening on lithium-ion batteries. So majorly, a lot of work parallelly also happening on advanced materials to bring some radical change or bring something new to the ecosystem. Let's quickly run through the different types of innovation. It's a very interesting document of Deloitte Digital, and that is something which will give you an idea of the entire scope of innovation. So what happens is mostly we try and focus on product innovation, right? We try and improve the product performance or the product system, and that's where most of the innovations are being pursued by companies. So when you work on a product, it increases or enhances the offering. मतलब जो आप product दे रहे हैं customer को, वो offering improve होती है product से, ठीक है? However, you can also work on configuration. So you can work around the profit model, you can work around creating a more interesting network, structure, process. This is all configuration. So not too many companies work on this because उतना visible नहीं होता है, right? Product जब नया product बनता है तो बहुत visible हो जाता है. And then comes the experience side of it. So services, channel, brand, customer engagement, all of that. Right? So there are companies which work on experiences also. And with more and more younger generation, I'm sure you know that India is now the youngest country in the world. So the younger generation needs a lot of experience. So that's where a lot of companies now provide experiences as part of their innovation. So as I said, innovation is much more. There is, business model-led innovation where you actually alter the profit model, which means the way in which you make money, the network connections with others to create value, the structure alignment of your talent and assets, the process signature or superior methods of doing your work. That's where you work on the processes. Then there is, platform development-led innovation. And as I said, that's where majorly we work on the product side of things. Okay. So the product performance, it gives better features and functionality, as well as, there is a product system which is complementary to products and services. And then there is experience. So there is, customer experience-led innovation, as I said. So there is, service support and enhancements that's around the offerings. So for example, an air conditioner. Now, air conditioner is a product, right? It's a product better than, a little better with cooling than a cooler, for example, or a fan, right? But then the moment companies start to sell AMC or start to sell the service support, that is something, which enhances the experience. So without you worrying, your air conditioner is serviced, once in 3 months. So that's where you start to engage more with the customers. Next comes is the channel. So how your offerings are delivered. Sensors could be online. So a lot of startups now deliver online. Then is brand representation of business. That's a brand. So any brand any of you would like to name, which you often want to rebuy from. I mean, where you want to go again and again and buy from them. Any brand you can think of, anybody. तो एक ये टीम्स में थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम है, मुझे ये भी नहीं पता लग रहा कि मैं अकेले बोल रही हूँ या कोई और।
जी मैं बीच में कभी कहीं पे आ रहा है जी, वैसे ऑडिबल है। यस
राइट। तो मैं ये पूछ रही थी गौरव जी की कोई ऐसा ब्रांड जो आप जिसके पास बार बार जाना पसंद करते हैं?
जी मैम,
कोई ऐसा ब्रांड जिसके पास आप बार बार जाना पसंद करते हैं, जिससे आप खरीदना पसंद करते हैं बार बार?
ओके, so participant can answer or should I answer, ma'am?
Anybody, because I cannot see you guys, so I don't know.
Yes.
Hanji.
No, participant can unmute themselves. They can switch on their camera also. So we have given full control to the participant.
Sure.
So I am requesting you all the participants to kindly be interactive with our speaker, and our organizing committee will award the top 5 participants for the most interactive participant award, like that, after the completion of this FDP.
So actually, the Ham's voice is breaking, sir. We are not able to hear this properly.
Okay, anyone?
Ma'am, Reliance.
Reliance, Samsung.
Reliance, Samsung, right. So ये
Jio,
ये एक brand है, Jio, right. So इन्होंने कुछ आपको ऐसा ऑफर किया है जिससे इन्होंने अपनी ब्रांड प्रेजेंस बनाई है आपके माइंड में. So you want to go back to them again and again. Last and the most interesting is the customer engagement. So आज की डेट में a lot of companies also focus on customer engagement. आप चाहते हैं कैसे आपको मिला जाता है, कैसे आपसे ट्रीट किया जाता है. I'm sure some of you are member of some जैसे Club Mahindra है या कुछ. So the type of meetings they host and the So Uber is a classic example of business model centric innovation. राइट? तो उन्होंने कार्स किसी और की थी, उन्होंने एसेट किसी और का यूज किया एंड दे कंबाइंड इट टू गिव और डिलीवर वैल्यू. Amazon is a classic example of platform-centric innovation, right? So Amazon के अपने products नहीं है, Amazon दूसरे लोगों को marketplace देता है. And experience-centric innovation, the best example is Starbucks. So they engage customers differently to deliver value. तो आप जब Starbucks पे जाते हैं, आपका नाम लिया जाता है, कप पे आपका नाम होता है, वहीं पे आपको 4 चीजें और बता दी जाती हैं, including the discounts or the packages or the combos also. So if you look carefully, these are the different 7 types of innovations which Starbucks uses to engage with their customer, right? So Starbucks, as I said, is a classic example of using innovation, in profit model, in network, in process, product system, service, brand, and customer engagement. So इतने सारे level पे business innovation आती है, right? Now let's look at a quick video. Gauravji, can you see the video screen?
Yes.
No, ma'am. Sir, no, we are not with the video.
Yes,
You are not
video
able to
is
see
coming,
this.
but sound is not there.
हाँ, तो मैंने अभी play नहीं किया है.
Okay.
Can
you hear now?
The screen, sir.
Can you hear now?
Ma'am, sound is not coming. You can share the sound from the setting like that.
हाँ, मैं वही कोशिश कर रही हूँ settings पे
जी.
जाके.
Ma'am, in the share screen tab, there is a share system audio. If you want to share the audio of this video, then you can click on the share system audio, then sound will be audible.
Right. अभी नहीं चला तो I'll skip it. Could you hear or not hear? गौरव जी, आप लोग सुन पा रहे हैं, नहीं सुन पा रहे? नहीं तो मैं इसको हटा देती हूँ. मैं आपको वीडियो शेयर कर दूंगी, आप लोग खुद देख सकते हैं.
Okay. Ma'am, you can share the link.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
गौरव जी, can you play?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Working
हाँ.
on it.
जी जी जी, क्योंकि उससे ये एक वीडियो से काफी कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर हो जाते हैं. अगर हम चला पाए तो अच्छा है, नहीं तो मैं उसके बिना बता दूंगी.
Okay. If the sound is audible or not?
No, it is not.
Sir, there is no.
No sound.
No sound.
No.
Not
I
audible.
think-
It is not audible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound is not audible.
So I think we'll just let it be. The link is there. Please have a look at this video. It's a very interesting 4-minute video, which gives an entire purview of what entrepreneurs can do. So my request is please have a look at this on your own. मतलब आप अपने phone पे, laptop पे किसी पे भी देख सकते हैं. And let me just go back to screen share.
Include computer sound. Yes. Now it will be visible.
अच्छा चलिए try करते
Just
हैं.
yes. Now sound is audible.
Yes, yes.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Good
yes,
audible.
Yes, sir, it is audible.
जी जी जी.
Yeah.
So, entrepreneurship can be a real game changer for most of the civilizations. For a very simple reason, because there is ability to generate more employment. There is ability to,
Ma'am,
bring
your voice is cracked.
My voice is cracking, right? Is this any better?
Yes, yes. Now you're audible.
Right.
Perfect.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you. So I said, there are three major reasons why any government, any country, any government, they invest in startups or entrepreneurs. Because, there is a hope that new products will come in and there'll be, self-reliance in the country. So entrepreneurs will be able to create newer technologies, commercialize newer products. And, second is, of course, employment generation. And third, very important aspect is the tax revenues. Because क्या होता है जो corporate होते हैं, after a time, they tend to become sluggish. They don't generate new jobs. They don't generate additional tax revenues. वो उन्हीं little margins पे उनका चलता रहता है. So, entrepreneurs are, that's why governments across the world, they invest in entrepreneurs. That's what happens. So let's look at, the type of professionals who are there. So, and again, there's nothing right or wrong about it. कोई कुछ भी हो सकता है. Okay. So there are some people who are very good technicians. In fact, these are people who are very technically and scientifically oriented, and they are known for doing individual assignments. They can pursue one task at a time because खुद कर रहे हैं सब कुछ. They may not like to work under targets, and they always feel overworked क्योंकि वो सारा काम खुद कर रहे होते हैं. ठीक है? Then the second type of professionals are managers. So these are basically people who plan and manage, control, and execute. Right? So they can focus on multiple objectives concurrently. एक साथ, they can handle multiple projects. They also focus on people, on managing resources, on processes and project management, as well as they are interdependent with others for the work output. They set and achieve targets and timelines. So that's what managers basically do. So they work mostly in teams. Then is the entrepreneur. So entrepreneur are people. So as I have seen entrepreneurs very closely, always in my work profile, I would say they are more mission-oriented people. They have a vision, they have a philosophy, they have a life philosophy also. They have a desire to create, basically, solve problems, innovate, develop, and improve. They're imaginative, forward-looking, optimistic, goal-oriented, and risk takers. They also provide resources, set up team. They do multitasking. They have a problem-solving ability, bear the ultimate loss or reward. So, I just heard कि आपने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि इतने सारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स फेल क्यों हो जाते हैं. पर आप एक बार ये सोच के देखिए कि कितना ब्रेवरी का काम है कि अपनी मंथली जो सैलरी आ रही है उसको छोड़ के, ठीक है, आप रिस्क लेते हैं और आप खुद सिर्फ अपने लिए नहीं, आप बहुत सारे और एम्प्लॉइज के लिए और अपनी टीम के लिए. I'm sorry, am I not audible?
You are audible, ma'am.
Okay. So I was saying that see, entrepreneurs are really brave people. तो मतलब हम लोग तो यहाँ पे बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं अपने entrepreneurs की, because हमें ऐसा लगता है कि अपनी बंदी बंधाई जॉब छोड़ के सब कुछ छोड़ के
नहीं चला फोन
So I have a question, but I'm not sure. मतलब आप लोग बात नहीं करोगे तो कैसे होगा? But I definitely wanted to ask what type of professional you are. And again, I'm saying there's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just a mindset thing. You can be a great technician, a solo person, solo worker. You can be a great manager. आप multiple tasks एक साथ execute कर सकते हैं, or you can be an entrepreneur as well. So what kind of professional you are? Anybody wants to reply? Share any thoughts?
Multitasker.
Academician.
So academician, लेकिन कौन सी तरह की professional? What I mean to ask is, are you a technician? मतलब you like to work on your own?
I'm technician.
Hello, ma'am.
Technician. Hi.
I'm a multitasker, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm also
Yes, please
multitasker.
go on. You're also a multitasker. Great. Anyone
Yes.
else? Any thoughts?
Yes, ma'am.
Good
We
in
are all
organizing.
multitasker.
Ma'am, good in organizing.
Good in organizing. Okay. So is
Yes.
you work in a team or you work on your own, or I mean, do you solve problems? So what do you do exactly?
Yes, sometimes we feel we are creative also. And we can do multitasking things.
Right.
But due to our job liability, we can't do that creativity into reality. Actually.
Okay.
We have entrepreneurship skill, but can't do due to some liabilities. We are already engaged in some jobs. Actually.
Sure. No. So, Dr. Gaurav, actually concept ये है कि आप जॉब में रह के भी क्या एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं. मतलब आप अपनी क्रिएटिविटी को किसी तरह की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने में लगाते हैं. आप क्या ओनरशिप लेते हैं, जिम्मेदारी लेते हैं, नए तरीके ढूंढते रहते हैं एंगेजमेंट के, या नए तरीके ढूंढते रहते हैं इनोवेशन के. See, I will come to the next slide when I'll explain, all different type of entrepreneurs also, which are there, or type of people, who run businesses. But my question to you is, आप लोगों को खुद को क्या लगता है? See, entrepreneur, again, I'm repeating, entrepreneur, yes, are brave people, as I said. मतलब सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के, एक बिजनेस खड़ा करना और उसमें टीम डालना और सब कुछ करना, वो एक अच्छी बात है. लेकिन within an organization भी आप entrepreneur हो सकते हैं. So let's look at some ways of doing business. So there are some people who are self-employed. So जितने लोग ये grocery shop run करते हैं, या फिर आपने देखा होगा बहुत सारे रोड साइड ठेला होते हैं. So a lot of people, even freelancers. So people who get a job by themselves using their skill and become their own boss, right? They are multitaskers and they also keep investments low. तो वो self employed होते हैं. ठीक है, मतलब जो अपने लिए काम करता है उसको हम बोलते हैं self employed. Second category है businessman. तो बनाता है existing idea पे या concept पे. ट्रेडिंग हो गया, या ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स हैं और आपको लगता है मार्केट बहुत बड़ी है, ये तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ, तो आप कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, और उसके अराउंड सिस्टम बनाते हैं जो कि आपके बिना भी चल सकता है. एंड मार्केट को स्टडी करते हैं, मार्केट में उतरते हैं और प्रॉफिट्स लाते हैं. सो दैट इज अ बिजनेसमैन और अ बिजनेस वुमेन. देन कम्स एन एंटरप्रेन्योर. सो एंटरप्रेन्योर बेसिकली प्रोटोटाइप बनाते हैं, उसको रेप्लिकेट करते हैं, मतलब बहुत सारे लोग खरीदना चाहेंगे उनका सामान. उसको मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं और उसी प्रोसेस में नई जॉब्स क्रिएट करते हैं और इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करते हैं. सो देयर कैन बी क्लासिक एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, मतलब फर्स्ट टाइम एंटरप्रेन्योर जो होते हैं. फिर सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स भी होते हैं. सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स मतलब आज एक एजुकेशन की कंपनी डाली तो आपको आ गया कि कैसे क्रैक करना है. फिर आप कल को किसी और तरह की कंपनी डाल सकते हैं, फिर किसी और सेक्टर की डाल सकते हैं. दैट्स अ सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर. एंड देन देयर आर पोर्टफोलियो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आल्सो. पोर्टफोलियो एंटरप्रेन्योर का मतलब होता है कि आपने मान लीजिए एजुकेशन में एक कंपनी डाली, एक एडटेक कंपनी डाली और आपने उसी के अराउंड पूरा पोर्टफोलियो बिल्ड कर दिया. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने कंपनी डाली जो स्मार्ट बोर्ड होते हैं उसकी, मान लीजिए, ठीक है. स्मार्ट बोर्ड जब आपने सेल करने शुरू किए तो आपने देखा कि अरे मेरा तो बहुत अच्छा स्कूल कॉलेज का नेटवर्क बन गया है, और आपने सोचा मैं इसमें और क्या सेल कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ. तो आपने नए नए प्रोडक्ट और उसमें ऐड करने शुरू कर दिए. तो सम पीपल आर ऑल्सो पोर्टफोलियो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. दे मेजरली स्टिक टू द सेम डोमेन, सेम सेक्टर में काम करते हैं, बट देन दे आर they have been able to crack their market. And then there is another interesting category is intrapreneur. So these are people जो कि entrepreneurial trait को within the organization display करते हैं, ठीक है, for work on strong internal. So आप इंटरनल आप इम्प्रूवमेंट लाते हैं, आप इंटरनली प्रोसेसेस क्रिएट करते हैं. आपको कोई कहता नहीं है वो सब करने के लिए, पर आपको मतलब लगता है कि अगर आप वहां पर हैं तो आप खुद ही क्यों नहीं कर लेते, बजाय कि वेट करें कि कोई और आके आपका भला करेगा. सो दिस इज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, एंड आई एम श्योर मेनी ऑफ यू आर एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. सो प्लीज लुक विद इन. दैट्स व्हाट आई वांटेड टू से. Academician or any other, that is the sector you're working in. ठीक है, you can absolutely study the professional you are. मतलब आपको किस तरह से काम करने में मजा आता है, आप अपनी स्किल्स को उसी में एनहांस कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो ये कुछ डेफिनेशंस हैं, आप देख सकते हैं डेफिनेशंस. मेरी फेवरेट जो है वो लास्ट वाली है. Entrepreneurship is actually the art of surviving till you get lucky. So, and that's why incubators like us keep supporting startups till they get lucky. And, we do.
Slides are not moving. Excuse me, ma'am.
Slides are not visible.
It's not moving.
Okay.
Yeah, not moving actually. Yeah.
Achha.
Now, right. Okay. Now
you can see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Ki, entrepreneurship is basically, for me, it's the art of surviving till you get lucky, right? And there are so many other definitions. आप Google search करेंगे, आपको बहुत सारी मिल जाएंगी, ठीक है? Mostly entrepreneurs are, tight with resources. मतलब अक्सर उनके पास बहुत सारे resources नहीं होते हैं, ठीक है? But वो mission driven होते हैं and they want to, make the world a better place. What do you see on screen now? And this is an exercise for everyone. जल्दी जल्दी बताओ स्क्रीन पे क्या दिख रहा है?
आर्मी.
हाँ.
Soldier.
Soldier या
Sophistically equipped.
Sophistically
equipped.
high-tech
Soldier.
Commando.
Soldier with safeties.
He has a lot of.
A soldier who is targeting something.
Modern experience.
Targeting something.
Modern.
He's trying to shoot something.
Right.
Maybe practicing.
Right. Good. Thank you. So क्या कितने सारे gadgets हैं? हेलो, आई सेड उसके पास इतने सारे गैजेट्स क्यों हैं?
Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
Ma'am, इसके पास
all the protection and safety.
इतने सारे गैजेट्स.
Improve his skill. He required all of the gadgets actually. To improve his fighting skill or whatever.
To improve his skill, right? Or anybody else? इसके पास इतने सारे gadgets
to complete his mission or
हाँ,
job.
Okay.
हम इसके पास गैजेट्स ये हैं क्योंकि इसको की जो स्किल है, जो फाइटिंग स्किल है वो इम्प्रूव हो जाएगी एंड ही कैन मोर थिंग्स. क्योंकि इसके पास नाइट विजन गैजेट है.
Ma'am, because he know how to use these instrument when time comes.
So basically, this is for risk aversion. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. So उसके पास इतने सारे gadgets इसलिए हैं because उसका risk उतना high है.
Yeah, ma'am.
And also there is a chance कि कोई एक gadget fail कर जाएगा तो फिर वो अपने को कैसे defend करेगा?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why, you know, a commando needs so many gadgets, and that's what we try and give our entrepreneurs as well. Because there is a huge cost involved with an entrepreneur. It is something we call as an opportunity cost. मतलब उसी समय में वो कुछ और कर रहा हो सकता था, वो नौकरी कर रहा हो सकता था या कुछ और कर रहा हो सकता था. तो the reason हाँ जी.
Can I? मैम इसको अदर वे से हम ऐसे भी नहीं एक्सप्लेन कर सकते कि क्योंकि इसके पास इतने सारे गैजेट्स ये हैं बिकॉज ही इज अकाउंटेबल टू अदर मेंबर्स सेफ्टी.
राइट. राइट, बिल्कुल ठीक बोला आपने. दैट्स अ वेरी गुड पॉइंट. तो यू नो बिकॉज उसको बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, वो बहुत सारी चीजों के लिए अकाउंटेबल है, इसलिए भी यू नो ही इज वेल इक्विप्ड, राइट? सेम लाइंस इज व्हाट हैपेंस विद एन एंटरप्रेन्योर. So at times entrepreneurs also fail sometimes when they don't have the right equipments to go and fight the war. Treat it like that is what I wanted to say, right? So you know, just like a commando is well trained, well equipped, same lines an entrepreneur has to be well trained, well equipped, right? Because it's a big opportunity cost even for the entrepreneur. Okay, so that's what you know, you as faculty you have to always remember कि entrepreneurs को सिर्फ पैसे देने से नहीं होता, उनको बताना भी पड़ता है या उनको ट्रेन भी करना पड़ता है कि उस पैसे का करना क्या है. So you know, yes, that's why there are
with this separate, we can link 1962 or our army person are not well equipped but they are skilled. But in just like a surgical strike, they are well equipped, well trained. So that's why the casualty is nothing. So same for the entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने. You got it absolutely right. So basically उनको हमें हथियार भी देने हैं, weapons भी देने हैं और उनको skilled भी रखना है. So entrepreneurship, if you ask me, is a great skill set. It's a skill. जो mindset की हम बात करते हैं, it's a skill. ठीक है, और वो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो जो लोग जॉब में होते हैं उनके पास नहीं होती. मैं रिपीट कर रही हूँ. Some people in their job are great problem solvers. Trust me, right? वो सारा दिन यही सोचते रहते हैं अब और कैसे बेटर होगा. So why should your students or even entrepreneurs study entrepreneurship? क्योंकि हमें तो ऐसा लगता है कि उनको पता है ऑलरेडी कि उनको क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. Because you know, most of them they make classic mistakes. You know, it saves time when you know the common reasons of failure. It saves a lot of money by not pursuing a wrong idea. Also, you know, the kind of programs that we do, it also gives an overview of what an entrepreneurship journey should look like. And entrepreneurship also gives the knowledge to generate ideas, evaluate ideas, plan, build a team, raise funds, and scale up. So that's, you know, how deep entrepreneurship goes. So these are 6 characteristics of the entrepreneurial mindset. One is, you know, seeing and creating opportunities. Second is turning ideas into action. Third is leading the way. So, you know, most of the entrepreneurs are great leaders as well. Using resources smartly. So, you know, resource allocation is very important for entrepreneurs. Then comes managing risk. Then collaborating to create shared value. So collaboration is something which is very, very important for all entrepreneurs because, you know, not one person can be master of all. So the best way is to, you know, share resources and create value for public at large. So ये तो हुआ entrepreneurship की definitions. अभी आप लोगों ने बहुत सुना होगा startup, you know, because startup India अभी January 2016 में launch हुआ and उसके बाद से काफी सारे लोग खुद को startup बोलते हैं. लेकिन startup में और एक entrepreneur में थोड़ा सा difference है. So a startup is basically a temporary organization designed to search for a repeatable and scalable business model. Why temporary organization? Nobody can stay a startup forever. ठीक है, आपको बहुत जल्दी आपका बिजनेस मॉडल ढूंढना है जो रिपीट बिजनेस दे आपको और जो स्केल हो सके अक्रॉस ज्योग्राफीज, अक्रॉस एरियाज. सो द मोमेंट यू आर एबल टू you know, figure out your business model, you can actually you know, graduate from being a startup to being a company or a startup company. So that's why I said this is a temporary organization. Now, how to you know, help your students become a startup? Now, you know, I have different opinions about whether students should become a startup or not. Because, you know, somehow I feel that students should first get into a job, explore the world, you know, and then decide whether they want to become an entrepreneur. उनके पास कुछ basic resource होने चाहिए, 1-2 साल का runway होना चाहिए. But however, you know, we have also seen some students बिल्कुल, you know, जो बहुत interesting projects create करते हैं, live projects करते हैं, कुछ R&D भी करते हैं. So वो interest की बात है. So, you know, sometimes we also see very interesting projects coming from students and फिर ऐसा लगता है कि अगर हम इनको commercialization में help करें. So startup की सबसे बड़ी जो important चीज है वो है कि आप future को better बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं. You live in the future ahead of your time. मतलब आप दूर देखते हैं कि अगर आज से 20 साल बाद, 30 साल बाद you know, दुनिया होगी तो वो better कैसे होगी मेरे वजह से. Then you see what is missing in the world. You write it down and bounce ideas. You make a prototype. You show the prototype to 100 people. You iterate on the prototype until it makes sense. You find a co-founder. Also, you register your company. Split equity, co-founder के साथ. Look for funding and build version 1 at the same time. You launch, you let everybody know that you've made something. बहुत खुशी की बात है. And then you follow up with the users. मतलब क्या यूजर वापस आ रहे हैं, जैसे मैंने बोला रिपीट बिजनेस मॉडल होना चाहिए. तो अगर तो यूजर्स वापस आ रहे हैं तो आप ग्रोथ पे फोकस करना शुरू करते हो. मतलब आप एक टारगेट देते हो खुद को कि हम 5%, 10%, you know, week on week, month on month, depending on कौन से सेक्टर में है, हम उससे ग्रो करेंगे. And then you keep growing, and then that is something makes a successful startup. Otherwise, you know, you try again and keep trying. जैसे इसमें आप देखेंगे, Airbnb was actually launched 3 times. ठीक है, सो आप इटरेशंस लाते हैं, बहुत सारे इटरेशंस, बहुत सारे चेंजेस, एंड यू कीप वर्किंग ऑन इट, कीप इम्प्रूविंग टिल द कस्टमर से वाओ क्या प्रोडक्ट है, मुझे फिर से चाहिए. एनी क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस वन? Okay. Now, how can you actually help your students with idea evaluation? I'm sure आपका जो IIC है, मतलब Institution Innovation Council, वो बहुत सारे business plan competitions भी कराता होगा. So how can you actually evaluate as a faculty? ठीक है. So this is a very beautiful model by Professor John Mullins of London Business School. को हम 7 domain test बोलते हैं for idea evaluation, जिसमें हम माइक्रो लेवल पे बात करते हैं सेक्टर की और सस्टेनेबल एडवांटेज की, एंड मैक्रो लेवल पे हम बात करते हैं मार्केट अट्रैक्टिवनेस की, मतलब मार्केट कितनी अट्रैक्टिव है. जैसे मैंने पहले एग्जांपल दिया था पेजर का, अब आज की डेट में कोई पेजर दोबारा बनाना चाहे तो कोई सेंस नहीं है. फिर दूसरी तरफ हम बात करते हैं इंडस्ट्री डोमेन की, इंडस्ट्री अट्रैक्टिवनेस की, एंड एट द सेम टाइम वी आल्सो लुक कि वो जो वैल्यू चेन ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग है उसमें कैसे अप डाउन मूव करेगा. फिर उनका मिशन क्या है, उनकी एस्पिरेशंस क्या है, कितना रिस्क ले सकते हैं वो, मतलब उनका रिस्क एपेटाइट क्या है. तभी मैंने बोला 2 साल में होना बहुत बढ़िया है. एंड देन डू दे हैव द एबिलिटी टू एग्जीक्यूट ऑन द की फंक्शंस, ओके, की सेक्टर फंक्शंस. सो दैट्स समथिंग यू विल हैव टू सी. और एक बहुत बड़ा एस्पेक्ट है विच इज कॉल्ड द सस्टेनेबल एडवांटेज. So, entrepreneurship or a startup is different from a project, very different. मतलब अब हम प्रोजेक्ट नहीं बना रहे हैं कि 1-2 साल में पैसे खत्म करने हैं और फिर उसके बाद वो प्रोजेक्ट मार्केट में उतरा या नहीं उतरा कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. There has to be some sustainability, मतलब वो सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग होना चाहिए. So जब आप आइडिया इवैल्यूएट करेंगे आप ये जरूर देखेंगे कि ये ऑनगोइंग कैसे चलेगा, क्योंकि आपकी पब्लिक फंड्स है ना, आपके पैसों से वो उनको ग्रांट मिल रही है. सो आप ये जरूर देखेंगे कि how is it going to be financially sustainable, how is it going to be environmentally sustainable, how is it going to be creating livelihood opportunities. So इसके लिए आप sustainable development goals 2030 देख सकते हैं. So 1 or more SDGs if they are able to meet, तो ये बहुत अच्छी बात है, because फिर वो साथ में कुछ कम्युनिटी बिल्ड भी कर रहे हैं और कुछ पब्लिक बेटरमेंट भी हो रही है. So that is about JSS step. I think I can skip this. So happy to take questions if there are any.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this informative and wonderful session. So, dear participant, please make it interactive. Unmute yourself, and if you have any query, you can ask to our eminent speaker.
Jitendra ji, I can see your hand is up. Please
Yes.
go ahead.
No, ma'am. That time, what type of leader? That time my hand was up, ma'am.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Atifa Ansari. Okay. Ram Gopal Singh.
Ma'am, I'm audible.
Yes,
you are audible.
Ma'am, I'm Ram Gopal Singh, assistant professor of Mangalore University Pharmacy Department. I want to ask as a teacher how we can grow as an entrepreneur. It's a very still life as a teacher, ma'am. So we have a lot of innovative ideas and we have a lot of things to do. I'm also this man, so it is a very difficult to manage the each minutes and each seconds. Tell me, ma'am, what we have to do.
So as I said, बहुत brave होना पड़ता है एक entrepreneur होने के लिए. So मैं भी यहाँ JSS में हूँ, तो हमारे पास भी फैकल्टी आते हैं, एंड फिर मतलब अक्सर जैसे हमारे पास कोई गवर्नमेंट स्कीम आती है तो वो लोग आते हैं और वो कहते हैं कि हम इस पे प्रोजेक्ट बना सकते हैं. फिर मैं उनसे यही पूछती हूँ कि क्या तुम 1 साल बाद अपनी नौकरी छोड़ के हमारे पास इंक्यूबेट हो जाओगे. तो वो जो लॉस है 1 साल का या 2 साल का, सबसे पहले ना वो माइंडसेट आना पड़ेगा. मतलब अगर आप 2 साल का रनवे इकट्ठा कर सके, मतलब आप जॉब में रहिए, आराम से काम करिए, ठीक है, सेविंग्स शुरू कर दीजिए और प्रॉब्लम ऐसी सॉल्व करिए जिसके लिए लाखों लोगों को आपका सॉल्यूशन चाहिए होगा। उसके लिए आप मार्केट रिसर्च शुरू कर सकते हैं साथ साथ, मतलब जो आपको आइडिया है, इट्स गुड टू स्टार्ट विद अ मार्केट रिसर्च बिकॉज यू नो तब ये होता है कि आपको ऑलरेडी पता है कस्टमर क्या चाह रहा है। आई एम श्योर डिजाइन थिंकिंग के कुछ सेशंस होंगे यहाँ पे। सो हम कस्टमर के हिसाब से अपने सॉल्यूशन बनाने शुरू करते हैं। सो मेरी यही सजेशन रहेगी, अगर कोई भी फैकल्टी अपना बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं या एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना चाहते हैं, सो यू नो अपना 2 साल का रनवे रखिए। सोच के चलिए कितने लोग चाहिए होंगे। अकेले एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना बहुत मुश्किल है। सोलो जर्नी इज यू नो वेरी टफ एंड व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि वो स्टीम खत्म हो जाती है। सो डोंट लुक फॉर बिकमिंग अ सोलो एंटरप्रेन्योर। मतलब ट्राई कि आप एक टीम लेकर चलें। तो यू नो हर महीने का जो रनवे होगा वो सोचकर चलिए। कुछ अच्छे को फाउंडर ढूंढ लीजिए, ठीक है, जो आपके साथ आपकी जर्नी में रहने को तैयार हों। सो आइडियोलॉजीज शुड मैच एंड देन यू नो आई वुड सजेस्ट आल्सो स्टार्ट लुकिंग फॉर द टेक्नोलॉजी, बिकॉज टेक्नोलॉजी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स ऑल्दो ठीक है, उनको थोड़ा बिजनेस का थोड़ा सिखाना पड़ता है, बट अगर टेक्नोलॉजी है कोर पे और उस टेक्नोलॉजी की बहुत ज्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट है, सो उसको कमर्शलाइज करना रिलेटिवली इजी हो जाता है।
I have a question.
जी,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
राइट, हाँ जी शैलेंद्र जी।
मैम ये एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप और ये सब चीजें अभी बातें हो रही है, लेकिन क्या हम लोग रूट लेवल पे देखते हैं कि बच्चों को ये सिखाया जाता है, या जैसे हम लोग बचपन में से शुरू करना चाहिए, इस टाइप का कुछ कोर्स होना चाहिए बचपन से, एटलीस्ट कम से कम जब वो ग्रो करेंगे उनको कुछ चीजें फेमिलियर होंगी। तो इस टाइप से कुछ हो रहा है, मतलब गवर्नमेंट कुछ कर रही है इसके लिए?
जी, सो गवर्नमेंट ने अटल टिंकरिंग लैब्स सेटअप करी हैं काफी स्कूल्स में। सो टिंकरिंग लैब्स बेसिकली सेटअप हो रही हैं जहाँ पे बच्चे जाते हैं और प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाते हैं और काफी कॉर्पोरेट कॉम्पिटिशंस करते हैं, जैसे मेरी
साइंटिफिक प्रोजेक्ट्स, दैट इज फॉर साइंटिफिक mindset.
It is only scientific mindset. हाँ जी, so tinkering labs are only for scientific projects. हाँ जी, साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी के प्रोजेक्ट्स होते हैं उसमें।
लेकिन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज डिफरेंट थिंग। तो उस टाइप को किसी बिजनेस को करना है और साथ में बैलेंस लेके चलना है, उस तरह की कुछ ऐसे कोर्स करना चाहिए जिससे कि वो जो आने वाले जनरेशन है वो उस चीज को फेस ना कर पाए जो हम लोग अभी कर रहे हैं। तो इस लेवल पे आके अभी ये एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप और ये सब कुछ समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
तो सर मैं ये कहूंगी कि ये एक जर्नी है बेसिकली। जैसे आज से 50 साल पहले उस तरह से एजुकेशन नहीं थी, आज की डेट में उस तरह से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप नहीं है। अभी 50 साल बाद यू नो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप भी होगी और टेक्नोलॉजी भी होगी मार्केट में, अपनी कंट्री के होम ग्रोन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स भी होंगे। सो ये ना एक जर्नी होती है, हर कंट्री की होती है। मतलब हाँ आप ठीक कह रहे हैं, हम थोड़ा सा देर से जागे हैं बट एटलीस्ट जाग गए हैं। सो यू नो आई एम श्योर 50 साल नहीं लगेंगे, अब शायद 20 साल में हो जाएगा। सो दैट्स अ वेरी वैलिड पॉइंट यू गिवन। बट एज आई सेड यू नो पहले एजुकेशन नहीं थी, तो पहले बेसिक एजुकेशन आई, फिर टेक्नोलॉजी एजुकेशन आई, फिर धीरे धीरे स्टेम पे फोकस होना शुरू हुआ, स्टेम एजुकेशन पे। अब जाके यू नो टिंकरिंग की हम बात कर रहे हैं, फिर हम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बात करेंगे, तो करेंगे, सब कुछ होगा आई एम श्योर। द गवर्नमेंट इज प्लानिंग डेफिनेटली, अ लॉट ऑफ प्लान्स आर देयर। इनफैक्ट DST का एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोग्राम है इंस्पायर मानक अवार्ड्स करके, जिसमें कि बच्चों मतलब इट्स स्कूल लेवल प्रोग्राम। तो हमारे यहाँ पे अभी आकर DST का टेक्नोलॉजी वीक था मई में 11th में। सो हमारे यहाँ पे कुछ लोग रुके थे अपने गार्डियंस के साथ आके। 7th के बच्चे, 8th के बच्चे, इतने इंटरेस्टिंग उन्होंने प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाए हुए हैं। और यू नो आई थिंक स्पार्क्स हैं, बट हाँ इतना मैसिव लेवल का कब होगा वो देखते हैं, बिकॉज बच्चों को और भी तो इतना कुछ पढ़ाना है जो अभी कॉलेज में भी नहीं है। आप सोचिए सब कॉलेजेस में भी अभी तक एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की एजुकेशन नहीं है, मतलब उसको मैंडेटरी कर देना चाहिए। एक क्रेडिट कोर्स एक सब यूनिवर्सिटी में चाहिए।
स्टॉक मार्केट वगैरह और मार्केट को एक गैम्बलिंग तरह देखते हैं हम लोग, लेकिन उसको माइंडसेट चेंज होना चाहिए कि इन्वेस्टिंग की तरह उसको देखें, बड़ी कैसे चूज करना है कैसे भी सोचना चाहिए।
ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग थॉट है सर आपका। सो बिल्कुल आई एम श्योर इस पे और काम किया जाएगा जी। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू।
मैम अभी गवर्नमेंट ने ई कर्मा करके भी प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट किए हैं. These projects are also helping the startups.
Yes, so there are a lot of projects which the government is doing. In fact, there are 12 ministries which are now involved in entrepreneurship promotion. So DPIIT है जिन्होंने स्टार्टअप इंडिया शुरू किया है, फिर आपका मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट है, फिर हमारी DST तो हमेशा से है ही. Then there is even defense, Ministry of Defense is supporting, Ministry of Oil and Gas is supporting, even Urban Affairs, Ministry of Urban Affairs is supporting. So there are 12 ministries, Atal Innovation Mission under Niti Aayog, they are supporting. Okay, MITI, आपका Ministry of IT and Electronics, they are supporting. So there are 12 ministries which are supporting entrepreneurship as of now. तो बहुत schemes हैं, बहुत programs हैं. Thank you. I think lunch time is there, so आप लोग lunch कीजिए, हम लोग फिर मिलेंगे. And you're most welcome anytime you're in NOIDA 62. You're most welcome to visit us in STEP. So you can absolutely see हमारे startups यहाँ पे क्या क्या कर रहे हैं. जी.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the accepting our invitation, as well as conducting wonderful session. Your session certainly motivates the faculty member to choose the entrepreneurship as a career. So I am also thankful for the DST for giving me opportunity to organize this faculty development program. And on behalf of the organizing committee of this FDP and Galgoti University, kindly accept this guest of honor, the e-memento of gratitude. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Gaurav. Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Lunch is waiting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.